Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital short-term rental opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go. Hey friends, it's Richard, founder of Short-Term Rental University, professional real estate developer, and professional fund manager at Stomp Capital. And I wanted to share with you sort of our thoughts about underwriting new deals and what to do here in 2022. It's July 27th, and the Federal Reserve is likely going to increase interest rates by 75 or 100 basis points and is very, very hawkish, so will likely continue to raise interest rates if and when inflation doesn't calm down. So what do we do? And here's a couple things that I talk about internally with our own team, and I wanted to share it with you, and hopefully it helps you. People just kind of assume that the path of least resistance is what happened in the past will continue, and you add a 3% increase or whatever, right, for inflation. Well, inflation is more like 8%, and it might even be more like mid-teens, depending on exactly how it's measured and what's included and what's not included and sort of who's reporting it. So inflation is way higher than that. So if you're only bumping up 3%, you're actually underwater. Now, if you have a really nice long-term fixed mortgage rate at 5%, that's really good. In all likelihood, over time, your asset will inflate while your debt is fixed, and that's a really wonderful thing. But what about ADRs and occupancy and what's happening in 2022 versus 2021, and how do we think about that? And the first thing I would say is, having taken a look at a lot of different markets and geographies, a lot of different properties and locations, is that 2021 might be peak short-term rental, peak AirDNA, peak Airbnb, peak travel. And why? Well, it's kind of obvious when I state it, which is that first off, nobody was going into the office. 100% of the globe was working remotely, right? So that's one thing. More people having more time and consequently the ability to work remotely from anywhere. And so consequently, the entire world is mobile. Okay, and how do they afford it? Well, all you have to do is take a look at all of the different central banks across the world and the trillions, tens of trillions of money that was printed. So you have this unique combination of more people with more flexibility and more time on their hands and the ability to work remotely with max printing of capital and funding. And so consequently, the combination of the two was like a marriage in heaven for short-term rentals. We had more ADRs, higher ADRs, more occupancy, more profitability, and it would be foolhardy to think that that's going to continue in perpetuity and forever, because that doesn't happen. It's unrealistic. So people are returning to the office, not 5 days a week and not every single employer, but more than in 2021, and those people are also doing things differently. So I was just sharing with Chris, who's filming here, that Yellowstone is having a softer year versus 2021. It's the single largest national park by visitation, and it's off. Well, why would that be? It's the same national park. It's existed for generations. Well, if you think about it, this mass movement of people going to these national parks in 2021, are they going to repeat the exact same vacation that they just did in 2022? Unlikely, right? Been there, done that. Not to say that they won't go back and that it wasn't epic, but are they gonna do it the very next year? Or are they gonna take a year or 3 or 5 off? So the things that we saw work really, really well in 2021, just as this pendulum often swings too far, credit was too easy, rates were too low, prices could go up, you could raise your ADRs, right? We were in a bull market, so the pendulum swings all the way over here. Well, it's totally to be expected. Real estate and all types of investing is cyclical. It's gonna come back in, and what often happens is we pass the new equilibrium and it becomes too tight and too expensive, and rates are too high, and occupancy is too low, and you have to lower your rates, and you have to do whatever. And then we keep swinging back and forth until we find sort of the new equilibrium. And the question is, can you operate profitably at this new equilibrium? And the best suggestion that I have for you is to underwrite your deals taking a look at 2019 ADRs and 2019 occupancy, because that was pre-COVID. So we didn't have all of this mass hysteria, mass printing, everyone traveling. It was more of a steady state. And if you can perform profitably using 2019 assumptions and 2022 interest rates, then that's a winner. But if you're underwriting a 2022 deal using 2021 historicals as your base case, that's a mistake, and you'll likely be upset and lose money, and it wouldn't be a wise investment decision. So ultimately, you have to recognize that everything is changing, it's happening in real time, and you must recognize that 2021 was the anomaly, not the norm, right? 2019 was more normal. Maybe 2022 is more normal, and maybe 2023 is like the new equilibrium. So we have to position ourselves for that. So in a nutshell, I think there's tremendous opportunity. I think we have to be smarter about the data that we look at and how we think about it. We have to recognize these like mass mega trends of everyone going at the same time to all of these national parks, to all of these beaches, to all of these remote places. And like right now, I for one was just in Europe for 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago. I'm going back to Europe next week. Almost everyone I know is going to Europe, and consequently, like, because we were unable to travel to Europe and we went to all the domestic national parks, there's a massive influx of people traveling from America to Europe. So Europe in 2022 might be boom, peak, all-time highs, but that's not the norm either, right? So we need to step back and think of our own actions and our own thought process, and then make a forward bet on where to invest and what's normal and what the right rates are and what the right occupancy is. And we can't just do it based on like what this happened last year. That would be a mistake. So do me a favor, like the video, comment below. What are you seeing? Where are the opportunities that you're investing in? And what am I missing? Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon. Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities. The best is yet to come, and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.